So Christopher Lambert, Mario Van Peebles, Denis Leary, and Patrick Stewart come together in this underappreciated early 90s action gem, Gunmen. In South America, bounty hunter Cole Parker and conman Danny Cervico each have half the clues to the whereabouts of a $400 million treasure of drug money hidden by Danny's now dead brother Carl. The money belonged to alien cartel boss Loomis, who helped ruin Cole's New York neighborhood and has employed the services of ruthless mercenary Armor O'Malley to recover his fortune. Against their wills, Cole and Danny are forced to team up to battle this elite squad of assassins, and if they survive a relentless chase across a jungle and 2 continents, they will have to face each other, because $500 million is not enough to share. So Gunmen comes to us from the director of the Jean-Claude Van Damme film Death Warrant, Deran Sarafian, with a screenplay put together by Sommers, who would end up going on to write and direct films such as Deep Rising and The Mummy, and had a bit of an unusual type of progression through Miramax and Dimension Films, as its 9-week production schedule in Mexico began in the spring of 1992, but sat on the shelf for almost a year and a half after it completed filming, getting a few international releases in late 1993 and February 4th of 1994 in the United States, garnering only a $3.4 million box office take off of an undisclosed budget amount, which I'm sure far exceeded what it ended up earning back at the box office after it was only released in about 800 theaters. It seems like a film that Miramax and Dimension Films just didn't have much confidence to put in the theaters and give a really big marketing push, which is a very odd type of thing in my opinion, because since the first time I ever saw this film in the late 90s on VHS, I have thoroughly enjoyed it, and it still holds up to me after all these years later, revisiting a couple years ago and then recently now for this review. Gunmen is a film that really should have gotten a lot better treatment if it was just handled with a little bit more oomph and care, because you got Sommers, who many people know from a lot of his films, are very big popcorn action type of films. Like I said, Deep Rising, The Mummy, his G.I. Joe film, a couple other things he's put out over the years. He's just a plain old popcorn action movie type of director, but it paired with someone like Deran Sarafian, who in this film definitely shows he has a bit more of he has a great handle on the fun, the entertainment, the humor that goes on between all the characters in the film, but brings a very strong, almost gritty type of visual style to the film. So you got this guy who can write some fantastically fun scripts, wonderful dialogue, really fun characters, but you get a director who can kind of focus everything and keep it nice and tightly packed with a good solid piece of energy, a nice solid direction, and very good visuals in this film as well. You get a nice package between these two guys to really create a really nice buddy action film that, again, definitely goes underappreciated because it's never been really given much of a chance to succeed, like I said. And even on home video, the only thing that's been available on any type of physical format release for Gunmen in the United States has been a pan and scan version for a film that was shot anamorphically. And that's a very bad thing, because the only way you can see this thing in widescreen now is on a streaming service. And this film just has a great compact, tight 90-minute runtime with a solid mix of drama and action and charismatic wit and humor in it. I think Deran Sarafian just really hit everything perfectly from Sommers' script. And apparently there was a more harder edge cut of this film originally made, where things were a little bit more grisly, a little bit more graphic. But I guess Miramax wanted to kind of pull some of that stuff back to make it more wide appealing, despite the fact that they really just kind of didn't give it as much promotion as it needed to be a big hit. But the fact of the matter is, everything that you really get in this film just comes together in such a nice mix, a nice balance of everything, that everything just hits on the right beats that it has to drive the story and the characters forward with such great energy and tightness and all the great things that you really want from charismatic, fun characters and just good action, just fun interplay with everyone that goes on throughout this whole film. There's great chemistry throughout this whole film between all the actors in this whole thing, and this is just a wonderfully cast, perfectly cast film. First off, I mean, you get Mario Van Peebles, who had a couple of attempts to be kind of an action star that really didn't quite hit off as much. He had stuff like Posse, which was a Western type of film, and he had a couple other things here and there where a little bit more cable, direct-to-video, and lower tier type of stuff that didn't really kind of hit as a big thing, but you see Mario Van Peebles in this film as Cole Parker, this guy who was a New York kind of bounty hunter and whatnot, who's now working with the DEA to kind of hunt down the guy who kind of ruined his neighborhood and everything. The character of Loomis, this big drug kingpin of sorts, played by Patrick Stewart. You see Mario Van Peebles in this film, and he's actually fully capable of everything that is asked for him throughout this whole film, because he is kind of like he's the main sort of hero archetype in the film, having all the weight and the drama and the kind of a little bit more serious, credible type of action star of sorts. But he has such a great handle on all the wit and the humor in this film. He plays off of Christopher Lambert absolutely magnificently. Their chemistry in this film is just absolutely some of the best stuff I've ever seen in an action buddy comedy. I laughed so much throughout this whole film. There's so much great moments of absolute clever and smart hilarity between their interplays. They have such amazing type of stuff, and it's no wonder that they ended up working again on the third Highlander film. But Mario Van Peebles is just so absolutely convincing and just has such a great action star type of presence in this film. He's got the great chiseled body, great good looks. He can handle all the physicalities demanded of him in the film. He carries all the necessary needed weight in the film, which isn't too much, but he just handles it so easily well, and he's such a good talent on screen that the camera looks good on him. Everything just works so well with what he has to put forward in this film. Again, the charisma, the chemistry, the physicality he has to put forth. Everything comes off so magnificently well with what he has to put into this character. It's kind of a shame that he didn't become a bigger action star in a short way, because he just had some really good stuff to offer with the comedy and the seriousness and the drama and the action. Such a good piece of this cast to have Mario Van Peebles helming this alongside Christopher Lambert, who is absolutely an utter delight. I just love Christopher Lambert, whether it's Highlander or Mortal Kombat or Mean Guns, anything that I see this guy in. He's always just having a really fun time of things, and he is just having the best time of his life as his character of Danny. Just his entertainment factor in the film is just absolutely at the top of the scales in this whole thing. Just from the beginning of the film, he is just having such a fun time and being such a funny and just entertaining character in this whole thing. All the comedy very much just begins with his character so much in this film, that he has such a lively talent on screen, just putting so much enthusiasm and everything he has into it, just like the smile that he has on his face and just everything he's doing. He's just having the best time of his life in this film with all the interactions he has, again, with Mario Van Peebles and all the action beats he has to do with, and just all the comedy he has to do is just absolutely perfectly on spot. It's just amazing to me that Christopher Lambert just never did more comedy work, because you watch him in this film and he just absolutely just throws everything he has into it and just has a fantastically fun time. And his character of Danny he's not the smartest, sharpest guy you could find around the jungle or whatnot, but he is a bit of an idiot, but he's got enough smarts, he's got enough savvy, he's got enough things in his arsenal of being able to out-trick people, outwit people a little bit, that it both works into kind of funny moments, but also really smart kind of action beats and whatnot. So it's like, is this character that always keeps things lively, keeps them fresh and different, it keeps everything keep going. It just keeps the entire narrative of the film just keep having nice little beats and turns and everything, that he's such a great cog in the whole thing, that everyone knows that this guy's the one who knows where the boat is with all his money is stored into, that he is the cog, that everyone has to have this guy to know where to go to find what they're looking for. And so it's like, you just have this great guy who can just create all this great fun and chemistry and charisma on screen, just everything puts forth. I laughed so much in this film because of what he did so much of what Mario Van Peebles did. They are a fantastically fun team to watch in this film. There's not a dull moment on screen between these two. There's always some fun stuff that's written in there and magnificently well performed between the two of them. I just could not get enough of them, and just like so much good stuff between the two of them. Great stuff overall. And then you get the villains of this film, where they're also wonderfully cast, because it's interesting to see Patrick Stewart in this thing right in the middle of his Star Trek The Next Generation TV run, and is playing this guy who's Loomis, the drug kingpin of sorts, but he's a ruthless guy who has
mean side to him, but he's this guy who's crippled, he's kind of weak, he's kind of ailing in sorts. So it's a very interesting dynamic that this guy has a certain amount of power, but he doesn't have the physicality to sell it in a certain way. So you just get these moments between him and Denis Leary that play off so extremely well, where you got just the sharp razor tongue type of guy like Denis Leary as this character of Armour O'Malley in the film, this mercenary of sorts, having this sort of very kind of vile, conniving type of feel to him, versus Patrick Stewart's a little bit more interesting type of performance here, where he is this guy who is physically weak and he's ailing in sorts, but he still has the psychology, the intellect to kind of plot against people, but things don't terribly go his way throughout the whole film. But fact of the matter is, you got a great interplay between the two of them as well, very different contrast there as well. But Denis Leary is just so very sharp and funny in this film. I think he's a lot more focused in this film than he is in like Judgment Night or Demolition Man, where there's points to those films where it just feels like he goes off on his like stand-up act in certain places, where he just goes on for like 2 or 3 minutes just doing stuff that doesn't quite fit the character and quite fit the scene or whatnot. This one feels a lot more focused, but you can still tell that he probably still had a few moments where Sarafian probably let him go off the script a little bit and kind of improvise things to just keep things a little bit more sharp and funny and whatnot. Just keep the character of Armour a lot more entertaining type of villain that is a scumbag. He's a total piece of scum, but you're entertained by him, you enjoy him, and he still has all the right things. He's still a lean character in a certain way. He doesn't bag down the film. You keep everything nicely focused because the direction's so good. And Denis Leary is a very good actor that, even if some people might have some issues with some of his stolen stand-up routine, he can still deliver a very good performance that very much hits the marks in this film very well. I think it's one of his better villain roles in terms of an action popcorn type of film. Definitely hits off so many good beats and just like has, again, that sharpness, that kind of evil type of thing, that just an edge to him that just like make him a real kind of guy you really just want to see someone blow his fucking brains out or something, just blow him away or whatnot in the film. And such good stuff. Everyone plays their part so exquisitely well in this film. It's such a very good, solid cast that are all hitting all the beats right, getting all the tone between like the dark and dramatic type of stuff, where you see Armour O'Malley blowing away a guy early on in the film who really doesn't deserve it, and leaving a kid orphaned. So there's these kind of darker, deeper moments in the film that do have a little bit of reflection, a little bit of stuff like that to give the film a little bit more depth in certain places, to give a little bit more character to people, a little bit more multifaceted qualities, but you still get all this great stuff in between with all the action and the humor and all this type of stuff. Everyone hits their beats so exquisitely well throughout the entire course of this film. It's a wonderfully put together cast. Really good sharp script as well that just hits all the beats with all the characters getting nice sharp dialogue and keep everything nice, lean and tight, focused on the story and progression throughout the whole film. And lensing this film under the guidance of Deran Sarafian in the wonderful CinemaScope format is Hiro Narita, who also shot Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country, which is definitely one of the better looking Star Trek films. And this film does use the CinemaScope frame very well for all the action sequences. It really covers a lot of good ground and never covers things too tightly. Keeps everything nicely put together in the geography of the action and the scenes and everything. Would put it on the level of something like Jan de Bont type of Die Hard type of cinematography, but it's a good, serviceable, solid type of stuff. And there are a few moments in the film where it does get some great sunsets and good vistas. They're just really gonna strike out on the screen. So there are a few inspired moments of visuals in the film, and overall it just is a very good looking film with a bit of an earth tone type of feel to it and everything. There's all the jungle, everything, so you get a lot of browns, a lot of greens. So it's not colors that jump out and pop at you, but everything is very solidly put together and competently put together. Everything comes together very well and reflects very well upon his cinematography, and the action in general just comes off very, very well in the film. That there's not a shit ton of action. There's not like the film has mountains of action or anything that really strikes out and is like, that is one of the best action sequences I've ever seen. But everything puts together in this solid type of form to really push the story forward, where there's action sequences never take over the film. They service how the plot progressions keep going forward in the film. And it's all very good action. You'll see a whole ton of gunplay, as the title of the film will actually make you believe. So it does serve that type of promise that the film puts forth with its title. A lot of good gunplay in the film, a lot of good, solid, slick action and stunt sequences, and a lot of good stuff overall. You get a lot of helicopters, a lot of automatic weaponry. There's also some knife play, some fisticuffs, a lot of good stuff put together with the action in the film. Everything just kind of flows together very well. The tight, nice editing put together, and also John Debney's score in this film, who's the guy who went off to do the fantastic score for Sudden Death. This guy puts together a very solid type of thing with a nice sort of Latin flavor to it, which is also kind of counterbalanced by a lot of hip-hop and reggae and R&B type of music thrown in to give the film a nice groove, a nice vibe that keeps going forward. I mean, right from the beginning of the film, the title song, Bite the Bullet, just has a nice feel to it overall. Just kind of gets you into the groove and the vibe the film is going for, and just keeps moving everything forward. None of the music ever feels like it's low or kind of dragging the film down or doesn't really kind of pop or whatnot. The music of the film really just has a good energy to it, a good feel overall. It just adds so much to it because it's all set in like South America and Mexico, so you really just get that Latin flavor put into the entire score and everything. Everything is put together by a very fantastically well talented music composer in this film, and just in general, the whole thing of Gunmen just has so many good things to offer, and just how they put together so much good, entertaining, fun characters in this whole thing. I just enjoy how well everything is well written. It's not fantastically multi-layered, dimensional type of stuff, but for what it is, an action popcorn type of film, you get some very good, fun characters, solid, entertaining type of performances, really good, stark, cool action, the whole thing. Everything flows together so well, so tightly put together. There's so much good stuff in this film that I just like. I really feel like Gunmen just deserved a better reputation, a better sort of, maybe not legacy, but just have a better standing in the pantheon of action films, especially in the 90s where things were kind of evolving a little bit in the action genre in a certain way. It would have been a nice point in time for it to really kind of hit and get maybe like $10-15 million or whatnot at the box office, have a nice substantial type of take, and just have a little bit more notice put towards it, because everyone in this film definitely put forth a very solid, great effort in making a very fun type of film. I just think that John Debney's score and Deran Sarafian's direction and Stephen Sommers' writing and all the cast put together in this whole thing really just come together so very well, and just like there's so many fun beats in this film. Just like I love how the characters of Cole and Danny are just like these two guys who are completely at odds, who just don't get along. They all have both have their agendas in this whole film, and just keep seeing these moments in the film where they're just trying to fuck with one another a little bit. There's these great little moments where Danny thinks Cole is sleeping by the campfire and everything. He's trying to kind of coerce him in his dreams or whatnot while he's sleeping and everything to kind of give him the information, but the whole time Cole's just kind of faking him out and everything. Just these fun little moments, and even how they keep kind of like trading gunfire between one another, trying to wound each other, just trying to fuck with each other. There are moments in this film between the two of them that just add so much fun and flavor and just personality to this whole film that just like there's not a moment in this film where they aren't making it a fun ride. I just love everything these two put together in this film. It is what is the entire glue that keeps the film so entertaining. If you just had characters or actors who just didn't quite hit it off right, it wouldn't even be half as funny as it is. But I just enjoyed every single second of this film, every piece of humor, every single piece of action. It was such a fun ride put together with good solid characters and nice writing. Everything put together in this whole thing just really hit it off very well. I think it's a very solid piece of work that if you want to kill 90 minutes with a nice solid fun entertaining action popcorn film, Gunmen is readily available on a lot of different streaming services such as Vudu and Amazon Instant Video, a couple different places. If you find it on Netflix, it's usually the pan and scan version, so don't go with that. Go with the full widescreen version, because only widescreen DVD releases were in like Hungarian and Japanese, so good luck finding those. So just hit up the streaming services that check this film out, put down a couple bucks, and have a fun time with it. I really, really enjoy this film, and it's always been one of those things always in the back of my mind. Always really enjoyed this film. I always felt like it deserved a little bit better than what it actually got. So if you guys have seen Gunmen, I would definitely enjoy hearing what you guys feel about it, because again, my feelings are definitely clear, but I'd like to know what your feelings are about this film. Again, fantastic fun action pairing and just everything I loved about it. It's right there on screen. You can enjoy every bit of this film thoroughly. So thanks guys for watching. Take care. Bye bye.